So the first thing you're going to want to do is open up Adobe Premiere, just start a new project. Then if you go to File, New, Sequence, or you can press Control N on the keyboard or Command N if you're on Apple product, and you're going to start a new sequence. I already have a custom template, but you're going to want to go to Settings and change your frame size here. So the first one should be 1080, the second one should be 1920. Make sure you've got however FPS you need. 60 frames per second is what I've got. That's what most people have, is 60 frames per second. You can save it, which will make your life so much easier. I do recommend saving the preset and just give it a name. I just call it TikTok and press OK. And for me, I've already got one, but you're gonna just do it and that'll save it. So title my sequence, because that's a good editing practice to always have. We've got Scooby, Dirty Pikachu. Everyone's happy. Okay, so this is where we're at. I have a library, you won't have a library. So now you've got your TikTok frame, everything's good to go. Now grab your clip. So in your folder, wherever you've got your clip at, you can drag and drop it right into Adobe Premiere, and it's sitting here. Go ahead and drag and drop it into here. You're gonna get a mismatch warning. Just go ahead and say keep existing settings. Do not change the setting sequence or the sequence settings, because then you're gonna have issues and you're gonna have to reset the settings and all that good stuff. So keep existing settings. All right, now we're cooking with fire. If you notice down here, you've got a couple circles going on. If you click this circle and drag it in, it just makes your project a little bit bigger, a little bit easier to see, a little bit easier to click on. You're gonna right click on your sequence and check the unlink box. All right, and all that does is it makes the video separate from the audio, so you can do all kinds of fun stuff with that. And the reason we're going to do that is we want to multiply our video layer by 3. So on the keyboard, press Control C or Command C if you're on Mac. Make sure you have a different track highlighted. So you don't want V1 highlighted because we've already got something there. We're going to highlight V2 and press Control V or Command V if you're on Mac. Okay, so now we've got, you don't notice any difference up here, but we've got another track. We're going to do that one more time. So again, click on V3, then Command or Control V, depending on your operating system. And now we've got 3 video tracks. Okay, now we click on the bottom layer. Make sure you're in the editing panel. And depending on how your Adobe Premiere looks, your effect controls can be over here or wherever. I've put mine over here just because it's easier for me. And you're going to go to motion. So if everything's closed, this is what it will look like. You want to go under motion, scale, okay? And we're going to just scale that up. You can literally grab the number, just click and hold and drag to mess with the scaling. We're going to scale this up until we can't see any of the black anymore. Once you've got that, go over to Effects, and then in the Effects Control panel, type GAU. We are looking for Gaussian blur, which we'll find that right here. Just grab it and drop it on that file. Don't freak out. It'll look like absolutely nothing happened. That's okay. We need to go back to editing. And now you'll see we've got a new folder here for Gaussian blur. We're just going to take that blurriness and bump it up to whatever you think looks pretty. I think this is kind of nice. Looks good to me. And that part is done. Now on the second layer, we're going to go ahead and just click on this eyeball here. So we won't be able to see this video, this top video layer for right now. We just don't want it to be in our way while we're doing more editing. So on track 2, this is the track that I'm going to use for the gameplay. So as a personal preference, I don't like to be able to see the camera because on the third track, that's going to be our camera layer. So I'm going to kind of edit this a little bit. I'm going to scale it up a little. I'm going to move it over a little. Just kind of right there. And then I'm going to go through my feed and make sure I see everything I want to see, which it looks pretty good to me. It looks like I got as much of the gameplay as I want. So this is fine. You might need to, depending on where your camera's at, you might need to move it around, you might need to scale it up, you might need to scale it down. Just do whatever you feel is good, and then we'll move on to the last step here. So you're gonna go ahead and uncheck this, and you're gonna notice things have moved. That's okay. Make sure you are clicked on the third track, because that's what we want to deal with. And we're gonna click on opacity, and we're gonna click on either square or circle, whichever one you want. I'm using square. I like to use the square. And as you can see, we've got this little square, this little dude. If you grab the middle of it, you can move him around. It's like a little window. You can see only what the square lets you see, right? So we're gonna kind of put it over there. It looks a little weird right now. If you mess with the position, you can kind of move him around so you can see him better. I'm gonna go ahead and start putting him up here. I'm gonna scale it up a little bit more so I can see what I'm doing. Let's do 250. Bring him over, bring him up. All right, and you can see this doesn't exactly line up. That's fine. If you press and hold the shift key and then kind of mess around here, you can see we've got this little arrow. So you can see where it's changing the arrows. We want that straight arrow with the line in it. That will allow us to scale this so that it fits quite nicely. So I'm just gonna scale it in there. Now if you notice, the sides of the box have these little check marks, these little dots. You got a dotted border around the mask. Personal preference of mine, that means that there's feathering. We're just gonna get rid of that feathering so you have like a crisp, clean line around the camera. So just there's what it looks like when you get rid of the feathering. When you have the feathering on, you can kind of see where it starts to blur out. And by default, it puts it at 10. I just put it all the way down to 0. And that is pretty much it. As you can see, we've got everything we need. And now all you have to do is do any of the edits that you want to do. So that is how you take your Twitch clips and turn it into a TikTok format. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. Let me know what you'd like to see next. If this tutorial has been helpful, I hope to see you next time.